In South Tucson, bicycles and aerosol and air and soul and Circle K and wildflowers and piñatas and hot dogs and history and vida and envidia. In South Tucson, chain link and dust, acatillo and geranium, a lengua franca of sun and struggle. In Tucson, cuídame, guáchame, cuídame, despégate, gusto en verte, hay que hacerle con trocas, tabla loca, Toyota Carola, titeritata, ta político, bla bla bla. En Tucson nada cambia, como la cumbia y mi gente de Arizona. My name is Logan Phillips. I'm a writer and performer based here in Tucson, Arizona. I think of myself as equally at home on the page, on the stage, or here in the classroom. I don't think teaching is separate from my artistic process, rather I think it's intrinsic to it. The same way I think that understanding social justice is critical when creating art. I co-direct Spoken Futures Incorporated, whose program Tucson Youth Poetry Slam is a wild success here in Tucson. And I think it's a wild success because with others I try to create circles for compassion and spaces for empathy where we can express ourselves, but we can also feel ourselves being heard. I teach social justice issues here in the classroom, such as the killing of Mike Brown, because I think it's so important for my students to have the opportunity to think critically about the world around them. I show them that whatever these issues are that we're looking at, whether it's Ferguson or whether it's the killings by Border Patrol here on the US-Mexico border, all of these struggles are connected, and they're connected in that it's a struggle to be seen as human and to make ourselves more human. And I don't believe that there's any art form better suited to doing that than performance poetry.
To Mike Brown's parents, our condolences. Rest in power, Michael Brown. The media says they are dropping the truth on us like it's a case of bombs, when in fact the bombs are still in the media's hands. They brought out a whole new war tool, lies, that make our eyes burn, falseness that cuts off your oxygen. Whitewash is the journalism covering Black Revolution, where all see the news, colored hands reaching for the sky, don't shoot, killed by a man whose job is to protect and serve, failed to serve, made no efforts to protect.
Excuses flood the why. People ask, why are you so angry? As if the askers don't read, don't see the no, don't shoot, don't see others not being treated like human beings. As if being human is an error, an excuse for a trigger. Let's go back to the beginning, the one we often seem to forget, the one we keep in the past, but keeps on repeating history itself. Mike Brown is not the past, he is now, like every boy and girl before him, Mike's name in every mouth presente.
Hear our cry for justice rain down, mend broken bonds, humanity's hum in our eardrums. Society can treat us less than human. To deal with pain, trauma, loss of life, you have to become more than human. We stand in solidarity with Mike Brown, his family, and all of Ferguson. May our noise, our yells, our protests of this inhumanity be heard from Tucson to Ferguson. With love, Tucson Youth Poetry Slam.
Hi, my name is Sara Gonzalez. I'm co-director of Spoken Futures, which helps run the Tucson Youth Poetry Slam. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Ferguson poem, which is actually an idea from one of our youth staff members, Alexia, who had been following what was happening in Ferguson and saw that different organizations were calling for people to send their support and their solidarity. So she brought it to our group, and we use a model that we've been using for a few years now to use poetry as a way to talk about issues that are happening and social issues in the community. So it's basically, we look at education, community, or education, communication, and action. So the first part of education is really pulling different stories about the topic, about the issue, and what's happening, and have you talk about it. And then connection is, how does this look in their lives? Have they had interactions with police? Have they had interactions in their schools where they're pushed out because of their behaviors, because of their identities, which many of them have, even if they don't have that language of what it's called. And then an action of like, okay, now what are we going to do about it? Because young people can do something about it, and it starts with sort of using writing and poetry as a tool to understand and process their feelings about it and their knowledge around it. So using that, we had watched some videos, and a lot of them had been up on the Ferguson tip. So they talked about it and what that looks like and how it looks here in Tucson, Arizona, because it's very much present here as well for young people and young people of color. And then they got together and they wrote a poem from all of their different perspectives, and they put it together, they worked to put it together, and then they sent it on to Ferguson in solidarity to his parents, to Mike Brown's parents. And that's a little bit of how we structure poetry and use it for addressing social issues in the community.